Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be testing out and reviewing uemura's Spring Summer Collection 2022. Well, not the whole collection, I only got 2 items and I'm actually only going to be using one of them in this video, the eyeshadow palette, of course. Now before you say anything, okay, I know that for those of you that have been keeping up with my community posts, you'll know that I recently announced my plans to go to Okinawa at the end of July, and I said that I really wanted to commit to a low buy. I didn't say no buy, just to clarify, I said low buy. Yeah, I wanted to see if I could commit to a low buy until at least that trip was over, right? Within literally 1 hour, maybe 2 of making that post, I placed orders with Uemura, Unleashia, and Cleona for their new dragon fruit collection. So that was kind of an epic fail on my part, but you know what? I am not sorry for it. Not one bit, okay?
1 bit. 2 bits. 1 bit. 2 bits.
If you came here looking for an apology video on the bathroom floor in my sweatshirt and no makeup, a la 2019 YouTube apology videos, you are not going to find it here. I don't know what to tell you. I'm actually not sorry because I feel like I hit the jackpot this time around with my makeup purchase choices. So I haven't gotten around to trying everything out yet, obviously, but I just have this feeling in my spirit. My taste is so refined at this point that I feel anything I choose or am gravitated towards is bound to be a hit. I honestly feel almost invincible at this point with my powers of discernment for which makeup releases are going to hit the mark and which ones not so much. So last night as well, I had once again no chill and placed my order for the entire new Soulmane 2 collection from Odin's Eye. I know, okay, I really am gonna cool it now for a while, or at least until I can get through reviews of all the stuff that I have accumulated so far. But yeah, really excited about the Odin's Eye collection as well. I just have a feeling it's gonna be amazing. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So today we're going to be focusing on good old Uemura. So I picked up the Nude Punk eyeshadow palette. I thought this said Nude Pink at first, and I was like, that is an even more basic name than usual. But then I got a closer look and was like, oh, okay, Nude Punk. That makes a lot more sense. I just had to, okay? Like, honestly, I have never seen such a palette or packaging that looks like it was so tailor-made for me. With the rose gold metallic ribbon atop the simple faux leather like black. It's just that perfect like early 2000s sleek, girly, yet a little bit edgy aesthetic. It's Regina George's prom dress in eye palette form, basically. And so of course I also had to get the limited edition Petal 55 foundation brush in the same packaging because you guys know this metallic chrome baby pink or rose gold, whatever you want to call it, has a chokehold on me like no other. The fact that I still never used the same exact brush that I got from the Sadaharu Aoki collection, which I also only picked up for the limited edition brush handle design, it has me slightly worried. Like, is this what we're doing now in 2022? We're just out here collecting $60 brushes for the aesthetic alone and not even being able to use them because they're so like soft and perfect. Apparently. And do I care how this makes me look? Like, honestly, I can't say that I really care. I feel like they would look great up here, even just as decoration, you know? They can sit next to Cat Peach over here. Have you guys met Cat Peach? She's a legend and an icon, in case you didn't know. But yeah, they can just keep Cat Peach company, and I really don't see, I don't see a problem with that. Anyway, so yeah, needless to say, this collection probably has my favorite packaging that Uemura has ever done. Objectively speaking, I still think that the Sadaharu Aoki collection was their most like striking visually or in the avant-garde sense, and I kind of low-key regret selling that palette, if you guys remember the green and yellow one, because now that I think about it, I really did like that color story. I don't know why I was so keen on getting rid of it. Anyway, that is neither here nor there. This collection though, I just feel like it suits my default aesthetic so well. This palette is my idea of a perfect neutral everyday palette rather than a typical, you know, brown toned palette or something boring like that. I would much rather consider something like this my neutral go-to palette. So let's break down this palette now. It's called Nude Punk, and as you can see, it has this gorgeous flushed peachy sakura color story, perfect for spring and summer. I love how they punctuated the girly pinks with a taupey gray shade and then also a straight up matte black as well. I think it's a great juxtaposition of nudie and punky shades, just like the name suggests. So I think both the color selection and the ratio of formulations in here is perfect. You have 3 velvet matte shades all on the bottom row, 1 dramatic metallic, 1 crushed stone, and 1 radiant pearl. I used all except for the metallic shade up here in the top left corner for my look today, which, by the way, I feel like an early 2000s pop punk princess in this makeup look, okay? And combined with my outfit, this is literally a satin nightgown because I work from home, so that means I rarely go outside unless I absolutely have to for dance practice or something, which means I don't ever have to wear real clothes anymore if I feel like it, okay? Get into it. No, but I mean it matches the metallic pink theme perfectly. And then with the Vivienne Westwood hat from Shein, I mean, come on. Is this not the definition of a pop punk princess? I feel like I really outdid myself this time. So these pants are on the smaller side compared to Shu Uemura's usual eyeshadow singles, which contain 1.4 grams of product each. These contain only 1.0 grams. I will say that the palette on the whole was slightly smaller than I expected. You can see it fits neatly in the palm of my hand here, but honestly, I don't even consider this a minus point because that just makes it more travel friendly and gives me more opportunity to use up the product. Like most of Shu Uemura's other eyeshadow palettes, this is designed in Japan and made in Korea. And like I said, I really am impressed with the packaging this time around. The material itself is still, you can tell it's nothing like super expensive, but I do think this is one of their better executed packaging concepts. Maybe because it is so compact, it's hard to really mess something up of this size. And random detail, but I really like the fact that the cover here bends all the way back. So in the past, I've been pretty consistent with my opinion on Shu Uemura's eyeshadow formulations. On the whole, they are very smooth, blendable, and pretty decently pigmented. Obviously not quite in the same way as a lot of Western eyeshadows, but in terms of like even looking lush, saturation, and buildability, Shu Uemura shadows get the job done, and they do it well. The one spot that I would always run into trouble with, that I think I finally figured out why now, whenever it came to their lighter or more nude looking shades, like this bone white shade over here, I could never get them to show up that well on my lid, or they always looked chalky, and I just found that really frustrating. Well, with this nude punk palette, I don't have that problem because first of all, the shades themselves are all shades that you can tell just by looking in the pan that they would stand out starkly and mesh well with my skin tone. Even the pale pink pearly shade up here, this was the only potential dud that I could possibly see right off the bat. However, I'm using this as a brow bone highlight today, and I feel like it's giving off the perfect subtle sheen for that purpose. So this is the first time that I've been satisfied with basically every single shadow in a Shu Uemura palette. And even the crushed stone formula here, yes, it was still as finicky as ever. I had to dig and scrape with my fingers and the brush. Some messy fallout as I tried to, you know, press and layer to the effect that I wanted. But for some reason, I don't know, I worked with the formula so many times by now that I guess I just learned to have patience when dealing with it. The thing is, I do love the way the crushed stone looks when it is really layered and adhered properly to the lid or even other parts of the face. Like today, I'm actually using this as a highlight as well. This is also the crushed stone formulation. So it just takes some work and practice to get there, but once you really do learn how to apply it well, it does give off this blinding mirror-like effect that is truly stunning, and I guess I just feel like it's worth the hassle these days. I say all of this to say that I basically came to the realization with Shu Uemura and possibly other brands as well, but particularly with Shu Uemura, whether or not I am going to like an eyeshadow from them, or even a different product like a lipstick or whatever, it really comes down to the shade itself at the end of the day. Which sounds very obvious, but it took me a while to understand this, okay, so just hear me out. Shu Uemura is known for very colorful, editorial style makeup, pretty much the spearhead for that in the Asian makeup world. So just knowing about what they bring to the table in terms of color and vibrancy, I kind of subconsciously approached them in the past with the same mentality as I would with a Western brand that is also known for its color and vividness, which is actually not the way that you should approach Shu Uemura, and here's why. Shu Uemura designs their formulas to really harmonize and mix well with the actual undertones and skin tones of whoever is using their product. So mainly Asian type skin tones. tones. I mean, this is pretty much stated explicitly in their manifesto. They're always talking about how their products are specially formulated and designed to bring out the best in Asian skin. So that means that even with the brighter colors in their range, those are still ultimately designed to layer on top of and look really good when mixed with your natural skin tone, as opposed to blanking out your lid completely with an opaque wall of color the way that a lot of Western brands are intended to. Keeping that in mind, I realized that the determining factor for whether or not I would have a good experience with any particular uemura product really comes down to two things at the end of the day. A, whether or not the color or the shade is actually flattering against and harmonizing well with my skin tone, and also B, whether I personally even like the color itself or not. So when I look back on my most recent uemura purchases that did not quite hit the mark for me, which would be these two, the Hello Kitty palette and the Chromatics Stone Neutrals. If I'm 100% honest, I never actually liked the color story for the Hello Kitty Rock the Party palette at all. The Stone Neutrals palette, it's still not my go-to right now. I'm still much more into the warm pinky tones as of late, but I can build more of a case for this one because I still feel like there's always a need for just a staple cool toned brown neutral palette in your collection at any given time. It's boring, but you know that once in a while you will inevitably find yourself in the mood for some boring basic browns. So that's why I ended up definitely enjoying and using this palette more so than the Hello Kitty Rock the Party palette. Like, obviously I only bought this one for the packaging, and that is completely on me, because when you look at the color story inside, it just really drives the point home that I had no business purchasing this palette. First of all, I don't even like purples and violets as a whole to begin with. I can appreciate them on other people or in art or something, but for some reason, even if it's the perfect undertone of a purple, it's just not my favorite color personally to wear. So that's why I didn't pick up the new Lilac Rebel palette this time around from the new collection. I only went with the pinky nudie palette that I was guaranteed to like. See, I learned my lesson this time around. Honestly, this Hello Kitty palette, I mean, I don't regret it because it really is so cute and one of a kind. This is one of those rare instances where I actually do feel like the packaging and collectability factor, it trumps my feelings about the actual color story inside. Yeah, like honestly, even if you take away these 3 pops of color here, I still don't like this weird brown color scheme that's left behind. I feel like there's no cohesion between the shades, and it just looks gross and muddy on my lids no matter what I do, no matter what combo I try out. I am not a fan. But luckily, with the latest purchase of this Nude Punk palette, I am overjoyed to report that uemura is back at the top of my list now. This little black book of a palette has single-handedly and completely restored my faith in the brand, and I could not be more thrilled. I mean, their cleansing oil has always been and always will be a staple in my routine, so they always had that going for them. And their brushes and eyelash curler tools and stuff, which apparently I don't use because they're too nice. But anyway, in terms of their actual like pigmented makeup products for the face, I feel like they fully won me over again. And in fact, I am going to drop a little bombshell right here and now. I have decided that I am going to give uemura the #1 spot as far as Asian makeup brands that I'm obsessed with, meaning that it's gonna replace RMK as #1. Yes, you heard that right. It is the end of an era. So RMK is now #2 on my list. I'm considering myself a uemura girl from here on out, okay? I love their quality, I love their concepts, I love what they stand for, their choice of ambassadors, you know, they use both male and female models. Also, not just East Asian models, they feature a lot of Southeast Asian and like deeper skin tones on their page as well, which I think is beautiful. And this day and age in particular, I feel like I say this every time, but they really do not get recognized and commended enough, I feel, for highlighting non-surgical Asian beauty, if you know what I mean. The non-westernized look, you know, they're not just like solely dedicated to making everyone look like they have huge double folded eyelids. So yeah, what else can I say? I stan a traditional Asian features promoting brand. I am here for it all, and just do me a favor and pray for my wallet, everybody. With that being said, I am going to leave you guys here for today. Thank you so much for joining me as always, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!